Now we're live.
Beautiful.
Great. Sorry, we don't do this live very often. Jill's like, we should do the podcast live. And I'm like, oh man, I haven't done this in like a year. It's not... Doing the podcast live is the only time that I wish I had even more screens. Like, I have 2 full monitors and normally like a laptop going at the same time. And I'm just like, man, I need a 3rd monitor. Just for all the windows. Too many windows.
Alrighty.
So, welcome guys to the 50th episode of the Dapper Gaming Podcast for March 2nd. The Oscars are today. We're missing them. They're right now. They're terrible.
Well,
it's okay. You're not missing anything.
I didn't even know the Oscars were today.
With me, as always, Joe. And then, this week's special guest, Shane from Rerez TV.
Hey there.
He's a cool guy.
So, I think the obvious place to start is, why don't you tell us a little about yourself, Shane? Because I hear a lot about you. You and I have never talked, but I've been told a lot about you.
You have a mustache. This is the first time I've ever seen this. And a beard. I don't know too many people with mustaches or beards anymore.
The mustache is beautiful.
But that is.
You've had to have seen it before because you've commented on the podcast before.
Well,
when Justin and Jared
I've never been able
on.
to speak to you about it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I know you threw one comment and then Justin being like, yeah, I know Shane from ScreenWave, like, just brings it up every once in a while.
Well, I'm Shane, ScreenWave. So I have a show called Rerez where I do a lot of really dumb things on camera. And then I'm also pretty much the showrunner for the ScreenWave YouTube television, or like the ScreenWave YouTube channel where I do all the videos for them right now. I'm also the marketing coordinator for ScreenWave. And ScreenWave is a YouTube network video distribution platform. They're the company that designed normalboots.com. They are the people that manage and run cinemassacre.com. And we do a lot of stuff like that.
Awesome.
And I'm pretty sure, Joe, you're like partnering with them like a week and a half, 2 weeks now.
Yeah, I'm excited.
You're almost out of that contract.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm technically out of the contract. It's just it won't be fully canceled until the 16th.
So
that's cool.
So normally the way we start this podcast is that we talk a little bit about what we've been playing for video games this week. So since you're the guest, why don't you start?
I don't even know if you can consider this playing. So for a show I'm doing, I'm playing very bad games, and I'm finding 4 positive things about these really bad games. And I picked this game up called Fever San Koyo, which is a piece of crap. Like, this is terrible. It's a pachinko game. So if you don't know what that is, it's a game where you literally push a button and it plays itself, and you just put the controller somewhere and wait for yourself to win. It's terrible. That was an import. That was a stupid thing to import, and it is bad. Very bad. And my goal for the week is to try and find 4 good things about it.
How's it going?
Not good. Really not good.
Oh, jeez.
How could a pachinko machine simulator not be good? It seems like a real like runaway
like
hit.
Cash cow.
It seems like it should be good. I mean, Sega
yeah.
specifically forecasted that they're not going to make as much money this year because their pachinko business is not going so great. Like every Asian video game company just relies on pachinko.
Really seems to be that way.
Except for Nintendo.
I don't understand. I maybe it is a cultural thing. I don't understand the the enjoyment from those. Like, I don't understand the enjoyment from slot machines either, and these are pretty much slot machines with ball bearings flying out of them. So, I mean, if you don't like that, you're just in a different world, man. Not very good.
Is that all you've been playing recently? Horrible video games?
Oh, well, good stuff too. I've been playing Guacamelee recently. I got that from the Humble Bundle.
I just recently 100%ed that. That was an amazing game.
Yeah, I've been really enjoying that. I just tried out the Swapper, and I really like that. And I've been playing a lot of Don't Starve. Just been because, you know, randomly generated world type stuff. So I've been really enjoying that. And I think that's been about it. Yeah.
Good catalog of stuff. That Humble Bundle was so good.
Oh yeah, that was a good bundle. Lots of really good stuff.
So much good stuff. None of it which I owned, which was awesome.
I think the only thing I didn't own in that bundle was Guacamelee, so I didn't buy it. Like,
you own too many games, though.
No, you can never own too many games. One day I'm going to pass down my Steam collection to my theoretical kid if I ever bother to have one. And then he'll be like, what is all this shit? Why would you play this? It looks awful. I'll be like, no, Bad Rats is a classic. You should play it. By the way, I only
understand. It's the best game in the world.
You poor theoretical.
No, it really truly is terrible. I only have it because at like Christmas time, me and my friends find the cheapest, worst game that we can and then send them to each other. So like, for some reason, I also have like NBA 2011 Manager. Don't ask me.
That I didn't even know that was a thing.
No, I didn't know it was a thing until it showed up in my Steam inventory one day, and they're like, someone sent you a gift, NBA 2011 Manager. And I'm like, the hell is this? It was 45 cents. That's what it was. It's a great tradition. If you really, truly hate someone, you should send them some real bad video games. Right at Christmas time.
Somebody gifted me a pony simulator or something like that.
I think I've heard of that one, and I
wonder if it's still on Magic Pony something.
Isn't it like Nintendogs or something, but with ponies?
Secret of the Magic Crystal. I've never played it.
I've heard about that. That's a classic. If you have to choose a bad game to find positives about, you should do that one.
Yeah. You know what? I'll install it after the show. That's for sure. I completely forgot. So so somebody sent me a game. I don't even remember who it was, but they sent me that game, and then I blacked out from hatred, and I woke up in a port with a couple of beer bottles surrounding me, and I don't remember how that came to be, but I completely forgot about the game, and now I'm back here again, and I think it says I've played it. I don't remember that. So yeah.
Who knows, man? Who knows?
It was probably just that good. You started up the game for 5 minutes and just went into a party craze.
Yeah, probably what it is. Do not look forward to that again.
I really want to play Barbie Dreamhouse because it's Barbie Dreamhouse Party. It's really strange in that there's like this robot. They're locked in a house and there's a robot. And the robot kind of seems like it's probably going to murder them. And so I want to see where that goes.
I've seen that Steam Train episode, and that is kind of weird.
I didn't watch them play it. I watched Giant Bomb play it for 4 hours, and I was like, man, I'm really into this for whatever reason.
Oh, that was ridiculous.
So, Joe, what have you been playing?
I've been playing a lot of stuff from that Humble Bundle too. I finished up Guacamole 100%. I started playing Fez. For some reason, it's hard for me to get in that game for long periods of time. I randomly was playing. What was it? I was randomly playing Halo 3, Halo 4, Gears of War 3, just a bunch of random shooters that I play on and off. And I started playing Red Steel for the Wii. I had a lot of fun with that. I'm playing it for a review, and it's so bad. It's not good.
Yeah, I watched you play that for like
Yeah.
15 minutes, and I was just like, man, I'm so glad I'm not playing that game right now.
But yeah, I was playing that and a lot of Fez and Halo. That's pretty much it. Nothing too new or spectacular. I think that's about it. How about you, Ryan?
Um, I played 2 games this week that kind of, one's great, one was bad. So I played Morrowind this week. Morrowind's a classic. That game's really, really good. I got really pissed off about half an hour before the podcast when I realized, fuck, I didn't set sneak as a main skill for my character who's supposed to be like sneaky. So now I have to fucking start over again. I was like, damn it. But that game is just really good. That game has like a quarter of the size game world as Skyrim, yet it feels 100 times bigger. And I finally realized how I can kind of convey or like verbalize why I like Morrowind and don't like Skyrim, and why I like Counter-Strike and don't like Call of Duty. And it's because of this aspect of like instant gratification that new games have. Like Call of Duty, when you see someone, you shoot them and they die instantly because that's just what happens, because they can only get shot like twice. And so like there's this instant gratification that you get as a player because you see people and you kill them. It's the same reason why I don't like Titanfall. But Counter-Strike, like, you see someone, you start shooting at them, they like, you get the upper hand because you hit them first, but then they get to turn around and shoot back, and like there's this 2 or 3 second gunfight, and then they die. It's not like, I see you, you're dead, and then that's it. And
That's why I
so
love Halo.
like you can feel in Counter-Strike, you're not instantly gratified, but there's a higher level of gratification when you get the kill, or at least in most cases for me, like when I get shot at, turn around, and then get the kill, like that's awesome. That's way better than just killing someone who doesn't know you're there and has no time to respond.
I think a good way to put it is that there's a much larger skill gap in Counter-Strike than there is in Call of Duty.
Yeah, but it's because of that time period that you get.
Yeah.
And the thing is that I've been playing Morrowind, and the difference between Morrowind and Skyrim is that idea of instant gratification. Like, in Skyrim, you get a quest, and then they're like, it's over here. So you open the map, click on the quest marker, and then you fast travel there, and then you walk in a room, kill 5 dudes, and then leave. And in Skyrim, they basically show you what to do, but in Morrowind, they tell you what to do. And so in Morrowind, they'll be like, you need to go to this shop and steal a diamond. And you'll get the shop name and they'll be like, it's on the other side of town on the northwest side, but they never show you. They just put it in your journal, and so you have to read and try to actually go and find places. And so you get this, like, the world seems much bigger because you're not just teleporting places all the time. Like, you're walking there, searching them out, finding them, and then, like, in the case of what I'm doing with the sneaky character, like, casing the joint, figuring out where I can stand and where I can't, and then stealing. And the stealth system of that game gives you way less feedback than it does in Skyrim. Like, in Skyrim, they have, like, the eye, and it's just like, you're hidden or you're not hidden. But in Morrowind, they don't tell you any of that. So you're just like, I'm kind of behind this thing, so maybe they can't see me. And, I mean, the game feels old. I would say if you were not like me, like if you didn't have, I guess, this affinity for Morrowind, like this connection with it from when you were younger, you would probably fucking hate it. Because it feels old, and that is like, I have to go to this shop on the northwest side. If I get to the temple, turn left. What? I don't understand. What's a temple? Like, because it doesn't tell you anything. Like, I've been playing Morrowind, and I have to have a world map open on the other screen, because that game used to ship with a world map. I have a digital copy of the game, so I don't have the physical one with me. And you need it so that you can tell what the fuck, like, where you're trying to go. Because you need to find, like, the like, the strider paths, the silk striders that you ride between towns for fast traveling that you have to actually pay for. You need to find out the routes that they take, because you can't go to any town from another town. So you have to, like, figure out what route you have to take to fast travel places. That's
cool.
It's like, by taking away a lot of the stuff that they've added in Oblivion and Skyrim, Morrowind just feels like a much fuller, like more alive world, because I'm not just going to my quests. Like, I actually explore as a result of not just being, I don't know, a superhero who can teleport anywhere. So I've been playing that, and then I've been playing the Elder Scrolls Online beta this weekend. It's a fucking mess. It's one of the worst betas I've ever participated in.
Really?
I keep falling through the world. Every time I talk to an NPC, my UI just freezes and like disappears, and then I have to reload the UI or log out. It's really laggy. The server's been lagging all weekend. They're like, we're gonna stress test the server, guys, and it's just not running. It's dead. It got so laggy that I fell through the world, and then it wouldn't even like kill me or let me use the unstuck command. So I was just stuck there falling for 20 minutes. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to log out. And then I came back this morning, and then I could use the unstuck command. I was still falling when I logged back in, but I could unstuck myself.
I got a key for it recently from a friend, but I haven't had the time to play it.
Most of the quests are glitched out, so they're not completable. Okay, they're completable. What happens is that the things that you have to kill don't respawn, and so if you just happen to, like, be the first people who are on the server, you got to kill the quest creature. Otherwise, fucking no one else of the millions of people that they have on this weekend got to kill it. Real stupid.
Wow.
There's problems in that game's, like, stress test weekend. That game comes out in, like, a month or something. There's problems that they're having with that game that should have been fixed in alpha that didn't exist when I played it a year ago. So, like,
that's weird.
Like the problem with the vendors. Like, if I talk to any NPC, 9 out of 10 times, I have to reload the UI because it crashes. And the game crashes when I, like, do load into new areas. It crashes all the time. And I don't understand why. Because it's not a problem that used to exist. So, it feels like they're just constantly going backwards with that game. Like, they started off with something kind of cool. According to, like, the people that I know who played it, like, a year ago at a closed event, they're like, yeah, the game was totally different. It was, like, Skyrim with people in it. And now it just feels like WoW. And I'm just like, oh, so not appealing.
I mean, for the way that they make those games nowadays, if it's a WoW, you don't really need another WoW because WoW already exists. So Skyrim was a little bit different. Hopefully they really wanted to stick with that, but it's kind of sad that they don't.
Yeah, it seemed that there was like two big, I guess, like camps on there were two like distinct camps for the development team. One was like, we want to make this game, which is a lot like WoW or like a traditional MMO. And then the other half was like, no, we want to make this like action game that's like Skyrim. And then screw the MMO aspects. Who really cares about that? And one camp clearly won out, and it was the one that really liked World of Warcraft. And man, I'm just so not up to paying $15 a month to play WoW. So I'm just so not up to pay $15 a month for Elder Scrolls Online. It's really bizarre. And the thing is, like, it takes so long to develop those games that if you base your game on the success of another game, by the time you get it done, that game is not going to be the thing, like, as popular as it once was, because it takes like 5 or 6 years to make an MMO because they're so big. And it just, there's no point in trying to emulate something else in this, like, in this genre. In other genres, because the turnover is like a year or two, you can look at something, be like, I like that idea, and then put it in a game for next year, and it'll work because it'll still be fresh. But in an MMO, I mean, it's going to take you 5 years to release at least, and no one's going to care about it anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why EVE is so successful. EVE isn't like any other game that exists, and yet it still competes right up there with WoW. But you look at, like, Knights of the Old Republic, or not Knights of the Old Republic, but The Old Republic, the Star Wars MMO, and it's exactly like WoW, but it came out 5 years later, and no one played that at launch. They had to go free to play in like less than a year, which is totally unheard of. It's also the most expensive game ever made. In fact, if you like adjust the Titanic's cost for inflation, the Old Republic costs like 3 times as much as the Titanic to make.
Wow.
Yeah. It also has the most voice acting in a game by like 800 hours or something. Like over top of the next game. And I think the game after that was like Dragon Age 2.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, just, man, Elder Scrolls Online, not fucking fun. Don't play it.
I know, what was it? The one where you attack people's castles and defend your own castle.
Oh,
Mighty Quest for Epic Loot. That went free recently, and I enjoyed that game very much. It's a lot better since I played in the beta. Definitely, it's definitely improved a lot.
Is it? When I played it in the closed beta, I was like, "This is awful." It was so boring because there were like these social game elements to it, where like, you can upgrade your castle if you get enough gold, and then you get enough gold, and it's like, okay, come back in 5 days, and your castle will be upgraded. And it's like, I don't want to come back in 5 days. I want my fucking ogre right now, damn it.
Yeah, they fixed that a lot, but there still is the little bit of pay money, and then it makes it go a little bit faster. But they've definitely brought down the times a lot. And I noticed that instead of it being like you go into a castle and it either being really, really easy or really, really hard, there's a lot of people who have like especially when you're going into like towers that are the same level as you, there's a lot that people have like figured out tiny strategies to make it like difficult, but not really difficult, which is really nice. So it's not like super easy or super hard. There's like a medium ground now too, which is awesome. It's definitely a game that I'm enjoying.
Shane, I have to say, I really like your Double Fine Adventure poster.
Oh,
thanks. Yeah, I backed that project when I think it was like the first thing I ever backed on Kickstarter. So kind of got into that and ran with it. Yeah, they've sent me a whole bunch of stuff like posters, buttons, stickers. When the box set for the game comes out, the Blu-ray will be included in it and all that stuff. I haven't actually watched the making of the series of the game at all because I want to get it on Blu-ray and binge watch the whole thing like it's a television series.
Nice.
So I've just been holding off, and I hear it's good, but
I love
waiting.
Everything Tim Schafer has done ever. He's a brilliant mind.
Yeah, I've been a fan of his since ever since I played Day of the Tentacle back in the early 90s or mid 90s.
I've been a fan since Psychonauts, since that was the first one I played from him. I was not old enough to have played or had a good enough computer back in the days to play Monkey Island or stuff like that. I wish I had a computer that good.
To play Monkey Island? Wow, dude, if you have a computer that could have played that, that's a pretty bad computer.
Yeah,
well,
you just needed a
10
DOS
years ago when
machine.
it came out. My computer was pretty bad. I also didn't have a lot of PC games when I was a kid. I had like a set amount. Like most of mine were like the games you get in like the cereal boxes from in Canada there used to be cereal boxes and they'd come with games inside of them like Roller Coaster Tycoon and like Monopoly and Scrabble and shit. So those were most of the games I had for my computer.
Yeah, I had quite a few of those. What my dad would do is there used to be a store where I grew up called Adventure Electronics. And I remember my dad would go in and he'd buy this spindle of discs. And it was this big flat, like, they don't do this anymore because game companies like to make a lot more money off their stuff. But what they would do is, with the introduction of CD-ROMs, they would actually take all these games and put them in these little, I want to call them folders. And then you'd have like this unfolding thing of 10 games. And the games had nothing at all in relation other than the fact that maybe Infocom made them or something like that. So I had this big spindle of like 10 games. I actually still own one of them right here, which is going to be an appearance on a video at some point. This is Metal Marines, which actually came in one of those bundles. And there was just a whole bunch of games like that. Nothing in common. but I got to play all these weird games. The problem was that maybe 2 games in that bundle were good, and the rest were just crap. Like, I mean, terrible, terrible crap. They would rebundle games that were on like a floppy disk, and they would just put them on a disc and give it some really nice like art assets and stuff. But the game wasn't good back then, and they just wanted to make it look like, oh, look, it's on a disc now, it's on a CD, so it's gotta be great. You know, it's CDs. You can fit so much. This game, despite being on a CD-ROM, is probably 5 megabytes. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that big. Good game, but there's plenty of other ones that were like that, where the games were just minuscule in proportion. Not that that affects the quality, but oh dear God. Just terrible games. So
sounds like it was a good deal, maybe, for the 2 games at least.
Yeah, well, it was. I got to play a lot of really cool games that way. The games I would have never otherwise had played.
Yeah.
And there was a Mindscape collection that I got that had Dune, Mega Race, just a whole bunch of just weird games. Oh, Siberia was in that set too. A lot of them were mostly Full Motion video games. Full Metal Video, that'd be a good thing. But yeah, I used to play a lot of games like that just because I thought they were really cool, and you know, my parents couldn't afford the most expensive things in the world, so kind of easy to get stuff like that.
Plus, who doesn't like FMV, man? I mean, it's objectively the worst thing ever, but oh man,
I don't want to.
It's not that FMV itself is bad; is that there's very few good FMV games, and like, who was it? Who's the guys who did Loco Cycle or whatever, that Xbox One launch title that had FMV in it? Like, it had like 30 minutes of FMV in it, and it was like the worst game in a while, apparently. Like, it's super racist too. I was like, man, FMV just like can't help but exist almost exclusively in bad games.
Well, okay, so their Sega CD had a whole bunch of full motion video games, and they were terrible, despite the fact that they might have been shot well or interesting. It's just the games themselves were bad because the companies would utilize the FMV sequences as the gameplay. That was the problem. There's this really cool game called Mega Race. It's probably not the best game in the world. In fact, it's not.
But it's not bad. Like, it doesn't make you want to hurt yourself, and so you're like, this falls in not awful FMV.
How do I explain this? So this is in a time when, like, okay, 3D graphics cards, when I was growing up, were a luxury item. Not everybody had them. When you bought a computer, a 3D graphics card was something you had to buy separately because they were never bundled in. When it's like, you don't need a 3D graphics card to run Windows 3.1, get the fuck out of here, you know, and that's what they would do. They would sell you the computer without all those components because you'd have to buy them separately. So,
well, they also cost a ton, and they weren't. There were so many players at the time in like graphics. There wasn't just NVIDIA and ATI. That most of them weren't really compatible with stuff that you would want to play.
Yeah, it's true.
It was crazy. Like, my background in schooling is 3D graphics for computing, and just reading about like Voodoo and what they were doing with like OpenGL and how OpenGL became like this awful thing for like a decade, I was like, man, I'm so glad that computers aren't like this. I mean, most of the time I would say monopolies are bad, but Jesus, we don't need 20 graphics card like designers again, because I think I'd kill myself as like a programmer. It would be terrible.
I had a 3DFX card, and then I had I didn't actually own a 3DFX card. My friend had a 3DFX card, and he gave me a Voodoo card, and I actually had the Voodoo 2 on an older computer because it has video out, so I can record really old games with it. But I don't ever use this thing anymore. But that was the time. That was the first computer I actually got with a 3DFX card, or 3D graphics card. Before that, FMV was the place to be, because if your computer couldn't render 3D graphics, FMV was just a video running behind an asset in front, and Mega Race was really good at this. So if you want to hear how crazy this was, so let's say 90% of the consumers out there that had computers didn't have a 3D graphics card. You wanted to make sure that they were able to play this game. So what they would do is they'd get like a render farm to make this video, and this video would play in the background of this car that you're racing. If you went faster in your car, the video in the background played faster. If you went slower, it played slower. So the track was the actual video, and your car was this 2D asset on the top. So that was what they did for that game, and then they would kind of do these weird things to make other cars appear on the track, but they were also 2D assets. So it was really bizarre. It works, but it's just really weird. And that was really good use of FMV. And there's a bunch of games like that. The problem is Sega, I think, destroyed FMV because when they introduced everyone thinks of Night Trap on Sega CD. Everyone thinks of Tomcat Alley and Prize Fighter and all those games I own there. They're all terrible. I mean, even the games that are good. And okay, this is a great example. Double Switch, which is on Sega CD, was also released on PC, and I believe it was on Saturn, but I might be wrong about that. Double Switch is a case where you have a lot of interesting actors in the like video presentation. So you have Blondie, Deborah Harry from the band Blondie, like she's actually in this game. Then you have Arlie Emery from Full Metal Jacket. Then you have there's the two Coreys. It's one of the two Coreys. I just forget what his name is. Corey Haim, I think. Maybe Corey Haim. Whatever. One of the Coreys is in it. So you've got all these different actors in there. There's a dynamic story going on here. There's a lot of stuff happening. This guy's trapped. One of the Coreys is trapped in this basement, and he's giving you access to his security camera. And you have to go through the security camera and find where all these people, like all these mobsters and assassins are. And you have to kind of trap them with these traps that are in all the rooms. Brilliant design, kick-ass concept. Oh my God! Whoever designed the actual like literal play of the game should have been taken out back and shot, because while they shot all of this footage with a bunch of different storylines that all interacted with each other, there are actual points of this game where you can never see what's happening because they designed it improperly. This is an example. There's a basement in the game and there's a power switch. If anybody in the game world pulls that power switch, the power is pulled off to your camera so you can't see anything and you automatically lose. It's an instant game over. All right? Stupid thing to put in the game. Dumb, dumb, dumb. All of the people that are going around and like trying to kill people and steal stuff or whatever, that's all pre-done. It's all done to a formula. So if you can figure out the formula, you can beat the game easily. So it's not randomly generated. There's a band that's playing a song. No one ever in the history of ever, not even in the people, like nobody in the world that has played this game has ever heard the full song in that game. Because while the band is playing this song that you're supposed to be watching, halfway through, a guy in the basement goes to pull the power switch. So you have to go downstairs with your video camera and prevent him from doing that. So when you do that, you go back upstairs and you've already missed some of the song. So this game was designed with a full music video type performance shot for this freaking game, and you will never see it ever because they thought of designing it in the most bullshitty of ways. And that's not the only time that it happens. There are plot-specific events that happen, things where you should be sitting in there and listening to what people are saying to learn about what's going on, and you'll never be able to hear it all. And when I was a kid, I was like super OCD. So what I would do is I would specifically die at certain points just so I could hear a conversation. So I kept dying and going back to points to hear a conversation and kind of piece it all together. The story's actually good. If you were to sit down, this would be like a cheap 90s made-for-television movie whodunit kind of thing. It actually could have serviced that. But because they designed it as such an improperly utilized game, it ends up being just a hunk of crap that you cannot make sense out of anything.
It reminds me of Night Trap.
It's very much Night Trap. It's the exact same gameplay, really. It's just, it's a little bit newer, so they had a little bit more... What am I saying? It's still shit.
So
That's
disappointing.
horrible. I don't even know how we got here. Somehow got to FMV.
I think he mentioned... doesn't matter. I can't remember. So there's one last thing that I want to mention before we move into news, or like, I guess, weekly topics. this week I feel really vindicated because a game that I've been saying is going to be terrible all year came out terrible. So the new Thief game came out. It's so awful. So the stealth is like not good anymore, in that the AI just don't really acknowledge that you exist anymore. Like you'll be sitting in front of them. They'll like have the I see you like indicator popping up above their head, and they'll just stand there staring at you like fucking ever. And there's like this weird like sprinting thing where you go like down and then back up. It's like this weird dashing thing for like traveling between shadows, I guess. That game apparently is not good. There's too much fighting in it. They've like got rid of all of the magic and made the world really boring. It's like super restrictive. It's like an open world game where all you do is walk down narrow corridors. So there's not even like any open world aspects to it. The new Thief, I feel pretty good that it's a bad game, but on the other hand, I'm super disappointed that it's bad because Thief was so good before. It's just like, why couldn't you make a better game? Like, every single comparison that I've heard about that game is like, it's a bad version of Dishonored. I'm like, okay, well, that's super disappointing. But on the other hand, exactly what I said last year when I saw it. I was like, oh man, this looked bad.
I don't know. I mean, so I played the original Thieves, and there is nothing more Canadian than a dude eating Tim Hortons donuts while we're doing a podcast. Can I just say that, Joe? Like, I mean, that's pretty epic. But yeah, Thief.
I loved the original Thief games because like
me too.
The stealth mechanics were so perfect. I wouldn't argue that Thief invented stealth games, because like the year that the first Thief game came out is the same year that you got Metal Gear Solid, like the first 3D one. And so you got like these 3 stealth games that came out that all had like a different style on stealth. But Thief is the one that emphasized like non-violence and like actually sneaking, and had pretty much like a perfect stealth system where they actually used sound and like light for like the visuals of the AI. But like Metal Gear, they just use like cone vision, where it's like you're in the cone, you're spotted. But a Thief is like you could be in the dark but in front of them and they couldn't see you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one of those games where they put a lot of effort into it. It's evident. I mean, the company that made it, right, Looking Glass Studios, I think, they had so many awesome games.
They had a lot of talent too. Like that's where Ken Levine came out of, with BioShock, or not BioShock, sorry, System Shock. Yeah, all the guys who worked there were super talented, and then they went and got sold to Ion Storm and made a kind of okay game.
Yeah, I think Deus Ex also came from there, right?
Yeah,
like the guys that came up with it. Yeah. I mean, brilliant. The sad thing is, see, the new Deus Ex Human Revolution, terrible ending, but good game. I think it's a good game. Just a terrible ending.
I never wanted this.
I never wanted this. I'm Batman. But they did like a whole bunch to try and make that interesting. So they did a pretty decent job of that game. I think they honestly did. Like, terrible. Actually, the boss battles were absolutely atrocious.
Yeah, someone else did the boss battles, but the boss battles were really bad because I was like, I'm going to build stealth because that's how I want to play Deus Ex games. And then I got to the first boss battle and I was like, I can't kill this guy unless I set the game to easy because I don't have any gun skills or melee abilities. He's just killing me. How the fuck do I beat this? And then I got to the second boss and I was just like, great, I don't have this stupid immune to lightning thing, so she keeps killing me in the water. So how do I beat this? And that was on easy. Like, I couldn't fucking beat it. I was just like, yeah, this is retarded.
It was bad. See, I was okay, and this is why I set when I heard about Thief, I was like, Like I was just kind of like, I like Thief, but it's a new team, so it might not be the same game at all. And turns out it wasn't.
It wasn't even the same team that did Deus Ex. It was just the same studio.
It wasn't. But see, that's the thing. I was when Deus Ex Human Revolution was announced, I was like, it's gonna be shit. Because if it comes out and it's good, then I'm gonna be all happy. I'm gonna be like, this is an awesome day, man. The game that was supposed to be bad ended up being good. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. But what ended up happening was, and the boss battles were terrible. I mean, I am not.
Even they admit that the boss battles were bad. They're like, yeah, that was a huge mistake because you would get yourself into situations where they couldn't be won.
But what I couldn't understand was, I'm not a game developer. Why did you get another company to make the boss battles? Like, really? Was
Save
that
time.
needed? Save time. It's like, what, 5 boss battles in the game? You know what? Okay, if you are making the boss... Okay, if you have a company that's just making boss battles and you blow at that...
The thing is that it's not that the boss battles themselves are bad. If you look at them from like a design standpoint, the mechanics of the bosses are not shitty. It's that they don't blend in with the actual game. So the mistake isn't that the guys who made the boss battles did a bad job of making the boss battles. It's that Eidos Montreal made a mistake of putting boss battles in a Deus Ex game because they shouldn't be there. And so it's not even up to the idea that the people who developed them did a bad job isn't fair, in that the mechanics for the bosses are actually, they're pretty standard boss battle mechanics, but they're not bad. It's just that that's a game where you can choose stealth, and then if you have to kill a boss, you can't do it. And they're the only characters in the game that are mandatory to have to be killed.
It's true. It's so bizarre. The thing that I found with it is, it really felt like I'm playing Super Mario Brothers World 1, World 2, get to the castle, go downstairs, see Koopa, and I keep dying at Koopa. No matter what I do, I just keep dying at Koopa. And then a friend tells me, oh, well, you gotta get the grenade and throw it at Koopa. What do you mean a grenade? Oh, it's the boss battles are done by Nintendo South, not Nintendo North. So you need the grenades that you never see in the rest of the game, and you need to throw them at Koopa and kill him. That's the only way you can do it. Still a dumb idea.
I thought you were gonna go with, you walk downstairs and there's Cutman, and you have to beat Cutman in a boss battle before you can get on to World 3.
Yeah. It just seemed like a very bizarre idea. I know why that happened, but really it's just
I think everyone, even they agree that it was weird. Like, they came out like a year ago and they're like, yeah, we shouldn't have put boss battles in that game. It was really bad.
Yeah.
Because, like, it doesn't make sense from a design standpoint. You're like, okay, we have this game where you can kill people, or you can be totally stealthy and kill no one. And if you want to be totally stealthy and kill no one, you need to put a bunch of, like, skill points into that. But if you want to beat the bosses, you need to go down this tree.
Well, here. This is the thing. I have a solution. See, I'm a game developer, but how about if you've been playing the game stealth that whole time, that part of the game that you fight that doesn't happen.
I know.
Right?
It's fucking crazy.
Just like, all you had to do is just go, okay, skip scene if player stealth. Done. Like, just program that in. You can't tell me that would have taken... I mean, that would have just been like a sequence where...
They just needed to, like, write better so that you didn't run into these characters, like, necessarily. Like, you had the option to skip them.
Yeah, it would have been...
it would have taken...
How awesome would that game have been if you found out if you do stealth, you bypass these enemies altogether, but if you go, like, the gun-toting way, you actually get boss battles. So that way you're like actually playing into both fields of both people that would be playing the game. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah,
wouldn't that be
something
so
much better.
Good game developer would fucking do?
Like, even if you went stealth, like, you could have even still seen the bosses and possibly triggered them, like, if you failed. But I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Just not good. And then with the new Thief though, it seems so wrong in that they've, like, gone open world but is, like, really narrow corridors. And you know how, like, in Thief there was always, like, these big levels that you basically had infinite amounts of ways to complete because you could go anywhere. And in this, they're like really small levels where they give you the like illusion that you can go anywhere because they put like 3 paths that are predetermined into the thing. So you're like, oh, I can go over there. And it's like, oh, but this is just a corridor that's different than that corridor over there. Like, it's like, you can go left or right. And it's like, but what about like up? Can I go up? Because like in the original Thief, you could definitely go pretty much anywhere.
Yeah,
And
pretty
it's just-
much. I mean, look for an open window, go through the door, go through the ceiling. Well, instances. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of options, and the universe is really cool too.
Yeah,
But I'm kind of glad that it, like Thief, the new one, is still in the same universe, right? Like they didn't really change that. It's
they
still the whole
rebooted
steampunky
it completely. They got rid of the 2 factions, the Hammerites and the Pagans, and there's no magic anymore at all.
Fuck that! Just I don't even care. Why even bother? Why even bother? It's called Thief for a reason, man. Like that's the whole reason you do that. It's just. Why even care? Why even care?
Yeah, I'm sorry that they massively changed the universe.
No, yeah.
The thing is that I could have
magic from Thief.
Yeah, I know.
It's like
there
the key thing.
there was this great developer interview about 6 months ago when I knew the game was going to be the worst thing ever, because the guy's like, yeah, I've never really played the original Thief games, but I mean, they're iconic, but we're gonna get rid of all the stupid shit like magic. Like, that's what the guy said. I was like, you getting rid of magic? It's fucking key. Garrett himself is magical. I don't understand. And they're like, we're getting rid of all the magic. And then they showed it, and he's like, yeah, you can see through walls now. And I'm like, but you don't have magic. How can he see through walls? What the fuck? And they're like, magic. And I'm just like, oh, so you got rid of all of the other magic except for Garrett's magic. Okay, then. It's just like the worst thing. The new Thief game is very much a case of too many cooks spoil the broth, and that they pretty much changed teams on that game like 3 or 4 times. Like, they rebuilt that game in like the last 9 months apparently, and it's just like, oh man, that game was doomed from the start.
I can't. I mean, it's dumb. If I were to take a game I don't like very much, and I can't even think off the top of my head. I don't own games I don't like, really, but okay, I don't like Dota 2. I'm not a big fan of that. Like, honestly, of all the games out there, it's not like it's a terrible game. But if somebody were to ask me to, hey, why don't you make Dota 3? I would say, no, I don't know anything. I know a lot about the game, but if I were to remake Dota 3, it would be
not like Dota 2
at all. It would be like a first-person shooter with stats upgrades and freaking tower defense. Okay, maybe I do want to do Dota 3, but that wouldn't be called Dota 3. I'd call it like Dota Legends or some other thing. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't.
No, man,
Actually,
you gotta
I still
reboot it like you reboot every franchise. Just call it Dota, just to get people really fucking confused. Thief 4 is Thief.
Madden
Devil
NFL
May Cry.
17. Dota.
Devil May Cry number 5, or DMC 5 is just Devil May Cry for whatever fucking reason.
Why not?
Yeah, you just gotta give it a real stupid name where you just take the original name and then maybe you can say it twice. You could call it Dota. Dota Defense of the Ancients. Oh man. So let's I'm gonna read this ad and then we'll jump into some news, and then maybe we'll end on some questions maybe.
Sure.
So, for you, the listeners of the Dapper Gaming Podcast, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. I'm going to personally recommend reading or listening to The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien this week, because I didn't take the time to go pick another book. So I just had to say one that I know exists on that service instead of finding a book I like and then finding if they have it. then saying no, they don't, and then finding another book. But to download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/dapper. Again, that's audibletrial.com/dapper for your free audiobook. Go get audiobooks. Pay our hosting fees.
Could I make a suggestion for books that are on Audible?
Go ahead.
Red Dwarf, Infinity Welcomes Careful Drivers. Awesome audiobook. Narrated by Chris Berry, who is one of the actors from the series, Red Dwarf, the BBC series. Very good audiobook. Very well done.
Get that one instead of The Hobbit.
There. Just to make the advertising worth it to somebody that isn't even paying me. Yeah.
They're probably not going to pay us because no one's going to go use that referral link.
You never know.
But it's going to be worth it the one time someone does, and then we can't get the money because we need 2 people to use it. Damn you, minimum payouts.
So what is the news for the week?
So, Warner Brothers Pictures is working with Minecraft developer Mojang to make a movie based on Minecraft. Which makes sense in that the other week, Notch and Mojang were like, this Kickstarter project that was making an actual Minecraft movie that didn't use the word Minecraft, but had all of the Minecraft sprites in it, were like, you guys can't do this, we're shutting you down. Because it was a blatant abuse of their IP, and they probably should have done it. But now it makes a lot more sense in that they're making a movie with Warner Bros. And really don't want some random fan making a movie with their $800,000 that they raised on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
By the way, that was a lot of money to raise for a fucking Minecraft movie on Kickstarter without permission to use Minecraft as your movie. Real strange.
That is quite the thing to do. I mean, I've seen
many games.
It's happened like 4 or 5 times this year, especially with Final Fantasy. I feel like I've seen people like articles about Final Fantasy Kickstarters getting closed like 3 or 4 times so far this year, or not this year, but I guess last year. I don't understand why people don't get what IP is. Like, I can't go do whatever I want with Final Fantasy. I have to go ask Square Enix. Same thing with Minecraft. So the idea to take out an $800,000 Kickstarter campaign for a Minecraft movie without asking if you can use Minecraft, fucking bizarre.
There is I haven't read the full fine print, but there is a thing on their website saying that you can monetize and use Minecraft in turn to make profit off of it.
Let's Plays, yeah.
No, it doesn't just state Let's Plays. It says any type of video gaming related or whatever. I don't know if the fine print includes a $700,000 Kickstarter for a movie, but
I think it's. I mean, I come from a world of video making, so I know you're not allowed to use certain intellectual properties from people that you just don't have the rights to.
Yeah.
When I was designing commercials for this one company, if an athlete came in wearing something from Under Armour, we'd have this black piece of tape that we'd put on their shoulder or whatever to cover that logo up, or we'd make them change their damn shirt. We had to do those things on purpose because we weren't allowed to have somebody else's intellectual property on our own work. I've seen those people start up those fan projects. We're going to make the best Final Fantasy VII film ever produced. Well, the guys that own the series, they ain't done one. So why do you think you can? It's because we understand Final Fantasy VII better than the creators do. In fact, we're going to rechange the name of the lead character from Cloud to Squales, because that's what we would do in a situation like this. Also, there's a 16-minute intense, hardcore pornographic scene between Squales and a chocobo, and it's going to be intense. I mean, That's what can happen. If a fan has access to the property and they're given anything that they want to do, they will literally do whatever they want to do. A company doesn't have to answer for it. So if they didn't say anything, what if the Minecraft movie that was 700 million, or sorry, $800,000 ended up being nothing but Steve just having sex with like I don't know, like a sheep. Yeah, the whole thing just that. Just a long drawn out scene, and the whole thing is just like, it ends with him just like staring dead into the camera, and it just zooms up on his eyes, and then it cuts to like the Clockwork Orange credits. I mean, that's easily what it could be.
Or what's even more likely, just doesn't exist at all.
Yeah.
I mean, you just get $800,000 and don't make a movie.
Yeah, exactly.
And the project was started by some dude who just like has a YouTube channel where he's like, I do video effects, and like did like that. All he does is kind of okay video effects on YouTube. People are like, it's great because it's better than the video effects that are normally on YouTube. But like, I don't think that's enough credit to make a full movie. Like, to give someone $800,000 to make a movie. It's like, your video effects that you use on YouTube are kind of like C movie reels that I would never see ever in my life. I'm gonna give you $800,000.
I think the whole reason why you're seeing a lot of, fan attention to Minecraft is simply because the fact that they allow people to use the assets, and Joe is right, there are a lot of people that do use assets. I think his name is Slamacow. Slamacow does
the guy who does the Maya animations.
Yeah, very beautiful animations.
Yes,
really fun series too.
They're really good.
And traditionally, a lot of children watch it though, because Minecraft is more geared to children. But really, what if those kids were like, Mom, I need your fucking visa. Oh, wow. I just put money into a film. I don't know, probably $10,000, but it looks like he needs it. How much is that? Oh. like maybe that's what happened. Maybe Minecraft got like one, like maybe Mojang got like one too many angry parents just calling in going, we're not making a movie. Yes, you damn well are. Look at the Kickstarter. It's got your name and the little Steve boy, and everything's made of blocks. I thought it was a Lego movie myself, but my son tells me it's not. That's really. I understand why a creator would try and do something like that to try and profit off the success of an existing series. But if you're that creative, do something. You didn't need $800,000 to make an animated film of Minecraft. People do that every
there was
week.
Live action parts of this movie, by the way, that they were going to do, where I guess they were going to like fucking wear cardboard suits and
oh man,
yeah.
But why Minecraft?
It all of
Minecraft
a sudden makes more
has
sense.
no
Oh yeah, I know, it was really stupid, but it also now makes more sense why Mojang would definitely close that down, even though there's possibly similar projects, purely because now Warner Bros. Is doing an actual Minecraft movie, which still completely baffling. I don't understand where the story of Minecraft comes from, since there isn't one.
It would be, see, Hollywood has done movies like this in the past, dealing with a person alone in a on some kind of island or whatever, just doing nothing for the entire film. And I think Castaway was successful to an extent, but nobody talks about it anymore for a couple of good reasons.
Is that the one with Willis?
Yes.
Okay.
That's really all the movie is. It's just him on an island,
talking to
longingly
Willis,
looking at a palm tree and stuff. But
and then he gets home and he's like, "Oh, everyone moved on in this decade. How depressed am I?"
Right? It's not a good ending for a movie. It's like, my wife didn't hold on for me. No, she remarried and had 6 kids. Wait, I've only been gone for 2 years. That whore, it's just the whole thing. But yeah.
Or that movie with Ryan Reynolds where it's like Buried or whatever, where he's buried in a casket in the ground.
Oh yeah, that's the whole film.
That's the whole film. He's just stuck in there, and then at the end he dies because they don't find him. Spoiler alert, by the way. Ryan Reynolds dies in that movie. Sorry.
Great movie. Yay.
It was okay, actually. It wasn't like bad. It's not a movie I would watch twice.
Yeah,
A lot of the
like
movie also
movies
is like a
that-
black screen and then just him breathing heavily because, I mean, there's no light in a casket when you're buried under the ground.
that's more of an experience film, and I find films like that eventually don't get paid attention to by anyone because they're an experience film and they're basically a thrill thing you watch in a theater. Because if you're in a well-lit room with the TV in front of you, you're not going to be like, feels like I'm trapped in a... No, it really doesn't. You're just, well-lit room. My popcorn tastes good. You know, like, it's if you're in a theater, the actual theater, like the lights close. Everything's in darkness. All around you is what you can hear is just that breathing. That makes sense. At home, it doesn't do anything. So the luster of that film just loses itself after some time. There's a bunch of movies that are like that where they've got this, what's a good one? Cleaverdale, one with the
Oh, I know the one that you're talking about. I think Cloverfield.
Ah, wow. Cloverfield is an experience film. That's a good thing to watch in theaters. It's not fun to watch at home because the whole surprise of it is gone. The mysticism it loses itself.
I feel like Gravity's like that too.
Yeah, I hear that a lot.
Because, like, I watched Gravity in theaters. I watched it, like, at an IMAX in 3D and was like, this 3D is actually good, which is a surprise. I only watched it in 3D in that you could only watch it in 3D. So I was like, oh, well, I guess I'll pay out this extra $4.50. But
3D, I'll say this, 3D for space is always better.
Yeah, it worked really well in Gravity. I was like, oh, this is actually not awful. Probably because it's just like a lot of rendered effects in that you can't probably do metal flying at you at thousands of miles an hour in space in a practical fashion. Like, I don't know how you would do that. So,
well, I can explain to you. I actually know. See, the best 3D film I've ever seen in my life is
Spy Kids 3D.
Oh dear God!
Avatar.
Not that far.
You
off,
were so
though.
immersed that you left clinically depressed. I love those stories.
G-Force. G-Force is the best movie I've ever seen. Yeah, the one with the hamsters.
Okay.
2009 spy comedy film produced by Walt Disney. It's a Jerry Bruckheimer film. It involves 3 hamsters and a guinea pig. Or are they all guinea pigs?
I've never seen it. I just remember the name and the trailer.
Yeah, they're all guinea pigs.
They're probably all guinea pigs to play with the G.
Yeah, I think
because it's a kids movie, so I mean that's how they do those things.
Hand to God, best 3D ever made in any 3D film ever in the history of ever. I would contest that. I would not believe. I haven't seen Gravity, but I would not believe Gravity has as good 3D as this one does. And there's a very good reason why this has better 3D. Okay, so imagine this is your screen. In a normal movie theater, you have access to the entire screen in the theater. But when you are in an enclosed cinema, there's usually like the black bars on the top and bottom.
Yeah.
So that's because of the aspect ratio that they're using. This is gonna get a little bit sciencey, but with G-Force, what they did, which was so genius, and it's why space scenes in movies are always done better in 3D. When you have it enclosed up and down, like a letterbox, that area is black, but it's still film. So in G-Force, what they did was that black area elements would spill over. So let's say somebody threw a water bottle at the screen. The water bottle would leak over onto the actual black portion, but everything else in the screen would stay there. So what happens is when you have your 3D glasses on, your brain is focused on the 3D imagery within the letterbox, so everything that's inside that space. So when objects came out of that letterbox into the actual black bar, it would look like it was actually jumping out at you. When you watch G-Force, it actually feels like real things are coming out at you. Space scenes are done with black and stars. So there's a lot of black in just one object. And because there's a star field, it actually gives depth because of how much black they're using. So all the objects allow you to feel everything like it's an actual 3D because of just having so much black. That's a genius way to do 3D, is have black spaces. Space itself, it does that because space is just generally just a lot of black with stars. and having an enforced aspect ratio for 3D objects always makes the 3D just pop the hell out. However, no single video game I've ever played has ever utilized that fact, despite the fact that it would be so easy for a video game just to make a little bit of a cropped box and then throw stuff out. But whatever.
Yeah, so I think I'm one of the few people who actually have like 3D glasses for playing games in 3D for like on PC, and it's a way better experience than you would think it would be, especially for some genres of games. Like it makes racing games.
Or do they actually have to be like the red and blue ones?
They're not red and blue. Here, give me a second. I'll grab them. I have them on top of my desk.
I have these movie ones that make me look cool and badass.
No, these are like active shutters. They actually, you have to pair them with your monitor, and they take batteries to like actually work.
Oh,
like
okay.
this.
I know what ones you're talking about. Yeah,
the NVIDIA ones. And there's certain genres of games that they work really well with. Like racing games are a way better experience, because you can see the corners coming up in the distance, because there's like this level of depth to the game that you don't have when you play like a normal game. And so you can actually see kind of how far the corners are from you and stuff like that. And it works really well because like in a way that movies don't, in that they just film the movie and then everything is like, Shane would understand this because he works in film obviously, but like you film a movie and everything's on the same plane. But when you make a video game, you're working in 3D space, so you can apply your 3D effects onto several layers of things. The way that 3D works in games is that they don't just render out what's going to be on the screen and then apply a 3D filter over it. They apply the 3D filter over the objects and render them in the game. And so you get like a way better layer of depth. I mean, it's like the difference of doing your 3D in post and film versus actually getting the two cameras and filming it.
Yep.
And so it works pretty much in every single game. The only games that it doesn't work with are like purely driver issues, where it's like the game just doesn't support it at all on the NVIDIA cards. But I don't feel ripped off about having got like 3D glasses for games. But now that you bring up this idea that you should throw things out of the screen, I'm a little disappointed that they don't. I think it's partially because all the screens are already 16:9, and that's the standard like aspect ratio. And so you would have to like letterbox that again, and then it would be really wide.
It would be, but the offshoot is you would have this really good experience. Actually, I think
there's some games that are already letterboxed like that, anyways, and so like those games it would make sense on.
What's the new place? 1840 or something? 1818? 1880. 1884 or something. 1844, is that it?
I know the one that the order. You're talking about the order. The order and then number that fucking no one's ever going to get.
I think it was 1844.
Doesn't even matter.
The order, whatever. So yeah, the order, 1886.
Oh, 1886.
Whatever, random number.
Fucking...
So yeah, the order is actually presented to you in a forced aspect ratio. So it's actually like it's wider than your screen. So that will actually be able to do it really well. But
the other thing is people would need 3D glasses for their computers, and not everyone does.
Oh, you also need to have the right monitor, and in the case of the PlayStation 4, the right TV. I'm pretty sure the PlayStation 4 actually supports 3D if you have a 3D TV. So,
well, that was the cool thing, that because the PlayStation 3 had that one TV. Well, I mean, it wasn't for just them, but you could buy that PlayStation 3 specific branded TV.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. And then you wore the glasses, and they would like block out the other person's screen for when you did split screen.
Yeah, which was cool. I actually did use that. It does work. They're like, you know what the trick is, right? So the glasses you have, the active shutter ones, and Joe, the ones you have too.
It worked with these.
One is vertical, the other one's horizontal. Yeah. So when you wear the glasses, they would just go both horizontal or then both vertical, so that you could only see the left or right image. So it was actually doing two screens at the same time. And it was a genius idea. It's just, you know...
Who wants to pay however many $1,000 for that?
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
you really want to pay that much to protect from screen watching? I don't
When-
think just buy
when
two
I-
small TVs.
When I played it, it wasn't.
And the
even
thing
that,
is that
it wasn't even that great.
Mhm.
I went to Best Buy and I put it on, and I could still see like the outline of the other person's screen when I had the glasses on and watching my screen. So it was confusing and weird, especially since it was a racing game. So the road, like I'd see a road like curving this way, and then a darker road curving this way. I'm like, God fucking damn it!
I have a friend who has an LG 3D TV that he swears it does the same thing. You can actually, it has a gaming mode where you put on glasses and it blocks out the other person's screen. And he swears to God that it's better than what Sony did. Like, it works a lot better, apparently. Like, you don't have any shimmering or anything from the other screen. He's like, yeah, it's perfect. It does it exactly how you want. So, you don't even need to buy the Sony TV to do it, because obviously other 3D TVs also do it. I don't know which ones, but LG has one of them, so. But it's also something I'm not willing to drop thousands of dollars on for.
Yeah,
Like,
I think
one silly function.
everyone should just work on making a better version of the 3DS 3D, and then we could just have all of our monitors do that and fuck glasses.
No, man. I just
Because
don't.
wearing glasses on top of glasses is just it's not fun.
We just
it doesn't
don't-
work.
We just don't need 3D. We just need Oculus Rifts.
I
We
don't-
just need
okay.
Oculus Rifts.
I really
all
want
of all
a
of the
developer version
VR.
of that.
Why? The consumer version comes out this year.
Oh, it does. Okay,
Yeah.
well then I want one of those if it's not very expensive.
Oh, it's gonna be expensive.
God damn it! Not having money sucks.
Are the newer one? Do the actual consumer Oculus Rifts have a better, higher resolution than the actual?
They just released the new dev kit that has 1080p screens instead of 720.
Oh, that's good. Because
And the
even
consumer
with
one's gonna
1080p,
be
it's
the
half.
same grade.
That's good.
So
What? They're not gonna go 4K?
no.
Oh
what-
yeah.
What's the point? I'm pretty sure it's 1080p 3D displays. Like, there's actually a 3D element to the displays. That's something that no one ever mentions about the Oculus Rift, but it's part of the displays is that they're 3D.
Well, the Oculus Rift, the way the screen is, it's a 1080p screen. So because you're getting two images on one side and the other, it's actually reduced resolution because it's half 1080p on both eyes. So if they really wanted to make like a really good screen, they would do a 2K screen on that, and that way you're actually getting a 1080p image on both eyes. But I get some people say you can notice pixelization and stuff, but whatever. I mean, it's more about the experience than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the screens go, I've used one. I noticed it a little. Didn't really affect the experience. The thing that I would way rather than work on is latency, because I worked in a VR lab for a while, so I feel, and latency is like the biggest thing. The testing that we did in the lab that I worked on was purely based on latency, and like 2 millisecond latency will completely fuck up how you like feel in the world, because when you're working in VR, like on computer displays, normally it's a 2 millisecond latency, like when you're gaming, and that feels really smooth, but when you're in VR, like you're trying to immerse yourself in the world, and so when you move, it feels like eerie, I guess. It feels really wrong, and you overcompensate for everything that you do because it takes too long to catch up to what you're doing, even though it's only 2 milliseconds. But it's a huge difference. Like in the tests that we did, people would walk like 4 feet past the markers that we would set for them in the world. So we'd be like, what we would do is we would have them walk like down a hallway 20 feet to this marker without anything like on their heads, and they would do it perfectly. Because, I mean, you can see what you're doing, and you just stand on the tape, and you're like, done. And then we would reset them, put, like, a bucket over their head so they couldn't see it all, and they would land, like, a foot away. Then we would put the VR helmet on them, make them walk, and because of the 2 millisecond latency, they would just keep walking, like, farther than they even would walk, when they didn't know where they were at all, because they couldn't see. And so just purely by having, like, this feedback that's slightly delayed in what you would almost consider an unnoticeable like fashion completely fucks up people's responses. And so if you can get rid of latency, that's the one thing I want them to do. Because
Makes
input
sense to me.
latency fucking will kill that thing. I've used it. I think it's more noticeable to me only because I know it exists. It's like one of those things that once you know it is there, you can't get rid of it.
That sucks.
What's been seen cannot be unseen. So when I use it, I'm like, this is really bugging me. And then I like tell other people about it, and they're like, damn it, it's there. And I'm like, yeah, I know, right? It fucking kills you. But it's pretty good when you're like just sitting and using a keyboard and a mouse. It's a lot less noticeable than when the helmet itself is the input device.
Cool.
We've got 2 or 3 more pieces of news here. So, Steam developers can now set their own sale prices. I don't think my wallet is ever going to recover. I think it's going to be dead forever. It's always going to be empty.
Unless everyone ups the prices, then your wallet might.
That doesn't make sense. Why would they raise the prices on their products?
Because then people would pay more for them.
They would just not buy them, wouldn't they? I
don't know.
Well, you never know, honestly.
If someone released a game you really liked, but the price was higher, would you still buy it?
Well, if they just raised the prices everywhere, that would be the MSRP. It wouldn't really be like a price hike. I'm just saying, if you're going to put something on sale, if you're allowed to set your own sale prices, how do you negative
Oh, I
sale?
thought you meant like...
They're not allowed to set their own... They obviously are allowed to set their own prices for what their games cost.
Okay.
But now they're allowed to, like, initiate their own sales.
Oh, okay.
So they don't have to, like, contact Steam and be like, put our game on sale at this price. They can just start a sale, which potentially... This is the year of sales. Last year was the year of Luigi, and this is the year of sales. And I'm just never going to have any money ever again.
So is Nintendo. No, that's
Oh,
I'm hoping
they have
for the
all
best
of the money,
but they have
so much money
they...
that it's ridiculous. They have enough basically to bankroll like another 2 failed consoles.
Yeah,
let's just hope they don't do that. I would like to see, it's the truth of the matter is that money can just disappear from bad stock if people just start selling stock in Nintendo. It just goes away because the owners don't care, or the owners of the stock don't care.
Well,
so they gotta make something better.
Nintendo is really in the same situation that Apple was very much in when Steve Jobs was still around, where they have so much money, like, just sitting there. It's just in savings. Like, it's not dependent on their stock or anything. They just have it, but they don't spend it on anything. However,
they started dipping into
the CEO has said, yeah, we're going to use this money now, guys, because we're going to fix the stock. And it's like, okay, then. They've saved up so many hundreds of millions of dollars for a rainy day, and now they're going to use their hundreds of millions of dollars.
Hopefully they can use some of that on fucking branding.
No, man.
Yeah, I mean,
they just need to make the games that everyone wants. I still think that the Wii U is going to do really well when they get the games that people want. I bought it mostly just to play Japanese games because Nintendo actually has promised and has been holding up their end on helping Japanese developers do their localization and releasing on the Wii U in North America. And so there's a lot of games like X is coming out purely because they're going to do the localization for X. And so there's these Japanese games that will never, like Monster Hunter 3 came out on the Wii U and on 3DS because Nintendo helped with that and it wasn't going to happen otherwise. And so there's these games that I want to play that aren't necessarily mainstream games that Nintendo is helping support bring to the West by helping with the localization and the releasing, that without them just wouldn't be here at all. So I think that if they follow that plan, they can get the really hardcore gamers on board, and that we get the Japanese games that we were never going to get if they didn't help. And then if they just release like Zelda, Metroid,
Smash
Donkey
Bros.
Kong, Smash, then they'll get
Star
everyone
Fox.
else.
Star Fox.
Well, I mean,
Platinum wants to do Star Fox so fucking bad, it's ridiculous.
I want Retro to do Star Fox.
No, I want Platinum to do Star Fox because they want it. They want it so bad. The designer behind Bayonetta's like, I've been wanting to make a Star Fox game for fucking ever. The Wonderful 101 was supposed to be like a game featuring Fox primarily, and then like a bunch of Nintendo characters in the back, and then they're like, no, we're not gonna let you use Fox, and he's like, fine, and then you just put like Wonderful Joe or Beautiful Joe style characters into it, and that was a great game. But like, as long as I think the Wii U can pull it out, in that, I mean, the Xbox and the PlayStation don't have games either, so
yet the PlayStation 4 in a really short time
has sold so fucking many.
It's about I think it just outsold the Wii U last week.
I still haven't gotten mine.
It outsold the Wii U before last week, actually. The Wii U's only sold like 4 million units, and last week the PlayStation 4 sold 9. It hit 9. It's doubled their sales, I'm pretty sure.
Here's my thing. I have a Wii U, I have a 3DS, I do not own an Xbox One, and I do not own a PlayStation 4. If anybody asks me what system has the best games of all the current consoles right now, I would say that the Wii U has the best games. Oh, thank you. It's always the PC.
No problem.
Consoles.
Yeah.
If it's consoles, I will always say that the Wii U has the best games on the system right now. Yeah. Pikmin 3.
That's a great game. Right?
It's a fantastic game. Like you're saying, a Wonderful 101. I don't consider the Zelda remake a new game, but it is a really good Zelda game that has been improved slightly with graphics and stuff. Worth it to be played on the Wii U. That's a great new experience. That it's a remake of an old GameCube game, but it's still nice, and it's a high definition.
You have to remember that the GameCube was like the worst performing console of that generation. Yeah. A lot of people haven't played Wind Waker because they didn't have GameCubes, and so like if you're like someone who owned a 360 last generation, and you're like, I kind of like Zelda games, then that game is totally new to you because you probably didn't play it, because you probably had a Wii, you probably played Skyward Sword and Twilight Princess, but you likely didn't have a GameCube because most people didn't have them.
Well, here's a question I have for you. Okay, so I'm gonna play. I'm a Nintendo fan, by the way. This is what really sucks.
I feel so really sorry for you. They've done no favors for you this last like 2 years, and like
really haven't.
All of last generation. I mean,
they really, really haven't.
Do you remember Wii Music at E3? The guy who showed off the drum thing? That's my favorite E3 moment ever. He has like a faux hawk and he's just like...
And it sounded so bad.
It was so awful.
So bad. Now, here's the problem I have. Now, like I said, Nintendo fan, okay? So I can be super harsh on them. My biggest problem is that I had Wind Waker. I had a GameCube. Okay? No one liked the game when it came out. It was too cartoony, people said, whatever. No one liked the game. No one bought the game. They sold more Xboxes than GameCubes, and ain't nobody bought an Xbox compared to the GameCube. Like, it was a bad system. And it was... The GameCube, at halfway through its lifespan, literally stopped production. That's never happened to a video game system before. You don't do that. You just keep selling them until the system is sold out. But with a GameCube, halfway through its lifespan, they literally stopped the production because they had such a backlog of them that nobody was buying. So, why on green God fucking hell would you put freaking Wind Waker on the Wii U to sell that system when no one's buying that? What was the logic there? I get it. There wasn't enough people that bought the GameCube, but ain't no one bought the Wii U. Why didn't you just not do that?
The remake, though, you have to know where the history of the remake starts. The remake starts when they were making the new Zelda game, and they were trying to figure out what art style to use and how to work with HD. And so they started remaking Wind Waker as part of how to figure out what graphic style they want to use for the new Zelda game and how to work in HD with that graphic style. And so Wind Waker, a lot, like the first half of it, they got it like half done and they're like, well, we might as well finish it. And so they basically just made it.
Beautiful. $10 download.
Yeah, I know. The fact that they charge $60 is fucking insane.
Yeah. Right? It's a little bit insane.
I'd pay $30 for it because I mean there's a huge overhaul in that they had to remake that game from scratch, and they did a lot of stuff. Like the graphics are a lot better. I mean, it's not like a lot of the HD remakes that you see where they're like, we put in HD textures Age of Empires 2 HD, but and they like redid the animations and stuff. Like the whole game is great. They redid so much stuff, but just it's not a $60 game. It's a $30 game. I think $30 is fair for that. I think that's a fair price for HD remakes that are really good HD remakes. But that's not what they want. They want $60, and that's fucking crazy. Who wants that?
Yeah, because really, why? This is the problem. I don't think Nintendo and a lot of other companies, it's not just Nintendo anymore, really, but I don't think Nintendo understands what a gamer is anymore. I think they believe that they're my grandmother.
They're always 5 years behind. Like they if you look at online play, that's really obvious. Like the Wii and the 3DS until like a couple weeks ago when they put in Nintendo Network and got rid of friend codes, were on friend codes. No one used those since fucking Quake. They're useless. Friend codes are the worst thing ever. They're terrible.
See, but
like,
I think,
and they're like, friend codes are the way to go, guys. And they're just constantly 5 years behind on what they're doing. Like, they're like, we're gonna remake a game, and it was a huge game, so it's $60. No one's charged that for a remake for 5 years. It's $30, and they're just behind always.
And see that's the problem I have, because they seem to. This is the worst thing. They make good things. It's not like they're doing a bad job at what they're making. They're skilled designers. They know how to make cool consoles. They know how to make cool games. They know how to do a lot of cool stuff. But then they do one step forward, then two steps back. It's like, hey, let's invent a car. Cool. All right. How many wheels should it have? 3 wheels, and you control it by spitting at it. You know what I mean? Like, it's a dumb idea, but the basis of what that idea is really smart. It's really strong. Redoing your old GameCube games that nobody bought in high definition, great idea. Nintendo should release this, okay? Because it's on a Blu-ray disc. They should release a Mario pack of games. So Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 and Super Mario Sunshine, and maybe even throw in Luigi's Mansion on the GameCube and HD on the system. Don't even do whatever the hell you want to do. Just up-res the thing and release that. It would look beautiful. It would play great. A lot of people would be interested in that, but they're not going to do that. They're probably going to release Super Mario Galaxy at some point in high definition, maybe, but
probably not. It seems really early to do that, especially when you can play the actual Super Mario Galaxy and Galaxy 2 on the Wii U, because it's the only one that's backwards compatible. I mean,
but in 480, in 480p,
it looks okay.
It doesn't look good.
It looks okay. I started playing it. I've been playing it. They look okay. I didn't get those games until I got a Wii U. I will admit they're pixelated as shit. That game could use some anti-aliasing.
Yeah, but that's the problem, man. They're such beautiful games. I swear, Super Mario Brothers Super Mario Galaxy is a beautiful game. It's probably one of the best looking games of that generation, and it's on SD. And it made a difference. It made a difference in the Wii's life halfway through. People were like, wow, this thing really looks like crap. Doesn't look anything like the Blu-ray player. I mean, when a video file looks better than a rendered image on the screen on a system, you got problems. The Wii took too long to get to it didn't even get to HD. The Wii should have been in HD. What they should have done was the Wii U should have been the Wii HD. Done. That's what it should have been. It shouldn't have been the Wii U. It should have just been.
It should have been the Wii 2.
They should not have put Wii in it at all.
No, man.
That's why no one bought the console.
It's a glorious pun.
No one realized that there was a new console.
No
one bought it because it had Wii in the name.
Shut up. I've had enough of this hubbubaloo. Shut up. Okay, doesn't matter. It's driving me bananas. But no, Wii has to be in the name because Wii is a super strong brand in that it's the best-selling console ever besides DS. Like, Wii, the name means a lot to people in a way that Nintendo probably doesn't anymore. But Wii U is a really bad name in that it does not indicate that this is a new machine and that it can be a peripheral. And so it should have been like Wii 2, not Wii HD, because once again, peripheral. Like, Wii 2 would have worked really well in that like the 2 indicates it's a new machine. Because the problem the Wii has, as far as marketing goes, is that no one knows that it's not a Wii. Like, it's not a peripheral.
I actually think that the total sales of the PlayStation 2 outrank the Wii.
Does it?
Yeah.
Oh,
because
whatever. It sold the most last generation, at the very least.
True, but this is the problem. Okay, this is the reason why a brand is a great thing. A brand can sell anything. If you release 5 really good hamburgers at a really good fast food chain, and then you release a burger that's made of ground up snails that nobody likes, people are like, well, they still made those 5 really good burgers. But if what you did was you got rid of those 5 really good burgers and you only sold the snail burger, your brand dries up and croaks. That's what happened with the Wii. That's what happened with the PlayStation. They killed the brands by introducing bad ideas and going full bore with them without stopping. Now, of course, they were testing things in the market. The PlayStation was a great big test. PlayStation 2, everybody has one. For every one person that bought an Xbox or a GameCube, 250 people bought a PlayStation 2. The numbers between them are just freaking nuts. I only knew a handful of people that owned an Xbox, and that was it. But it was so few, and I knew way more people that owned PlayStation 2s. Now, this was the problem with the Wii, or when the PlayStation 3 came along. It introduced so many concepts. It was expensive. It was a Blu-ray player. It went online. It had a hard drive in it. Every single PlayStation 3 had a hard drive in it. Every single one. And this was at a time when they usually didn't do that.
Even when the Xbox 360 launched, there was an option to buy one without a hard drive.
Yes, which the 360 was a huge bad problem when it started too. But still, people bought it.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's funny. The Wii had no real competition in its price range, and then it didn't really have any of the other features that the other guys were offering, yet it managed to steal away a market simply because it had a gimmick, and that gimmick appealed to my grandma, appealed to my mom, appealed to my sister. Didn't appeal to me after a couple of games played in, but it was a neat, cool concept. The real big problem that Nintendo finds themselves on right now was halfway through the Wii's life, it started to die. It's not like one day people just stopped buying Wiis. It was like 1 month people just stopped buying Wiis and it never went back.
I'm pretty sure the Wii outsold the Wii U last month.
It probably did, but that's because the Wii U isn't selling anything at all.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Wii sold something like 16,000 units or something like that, and then
yeah, definitely.
The Wii U sold
the Wii U
4,000. Was scary low numbers.
It's just that nobody's buying the Wii U. But the Wii it's like the Wii still sells, but it's just it dropped off really quick. If you look at Nintendo's financial forecast on the stock exchange, you can actually see pretty much where people stop buying Wiis. You can actually see their stock just flipping, and then when you look at it again, you can see where people stop buying 3DSs, and you can see where people stop buying Wii U's, and it just keeps going down and down and down and down. Eventually, they started to fix the 3DS because, oh dear God, they had to do something there. But why they haven't done that same kind of magic with the Wii U is beyond me. Dude, just rebrand it. Call it a Wii 2. It isn't hard. This isn't rocket science. You can call... This is what gets me about Nintendo. You can call the system anything you want. Your Nintendo. Game Boy, Game Boy Light, Game Boy Pocket, Game Boy Color, then the actual Game Boy Colors, Game Boy Advance. It's not like they're against rebranding the name of a system, but for whatever reason, it got to this and they were like, no, we have to stick with you. It's the only way people will know who we are. What do you mean nobody's buying our shit? Huh? Yeah. It's like they just don't get it. Just change the name. Change the name. Just change the name. I don't even want an argument from them anymore. Change the fucking name. It only takes 2 seconds. Sure, you're going to cost a lot of money in the marketing and all that stuff.
I feel at this point,
nobody gives one sweet fuck about the console right now. So just call it anything else. Call it Doggy Doo in a Bag. You will still sell more than Wii U. It's amazing. That's how bad Nintendo has it right now. That they're in that position and they refuse to listen to anybody. Oh, we're Nintendo. We know more about video games than anyone else. So did Atari, so did Sega, so did Acclaim, so did every single company on the planet that was doing what you were doing back in the old days. But they ain't around anymore because Sega got bought by a pachinko company, Atari got sold off by a guy that didn't even care about it anymore, and then Acclaim, fuck me, I don't even remember what happened to Acclaim. Probably died in a fire.
They just don't exist. I don't think they got bought at all.
Yeah.
I think they just stopped being around. I think the Wii U, though, has been out for so long that it doesn't even matter, like, the name change, because the marketing issues that they have now are it doesn't have any games that appeal to anyone. They have no mass market appeal because they just need, like, a Smash Bros. And a Mario Kart. And the fact that those weren't out this winter, mind-boggling. They need to be out. Like, those should have been what you tried to lead the console with, because if you don't lead it with something good, then there's no one's gonna buy the thing ever.
I'm surprised Nintendo wasn't just like, okay, let's make Brawl and Melee, and then let's make those launch titles with the Wii U. I don't think anyone wouldn't have bought a Wii U if that was the case.
Yeah. I have a sneaking suspicion that the next Smash Brothers game will actually not sell the Wii U.
I don't think it's going to, because people are going to buy it on 3DS.
There you go. That's what I think is going to happen.
There's enough pressure on Nintendo right now. There's enough pressure on Nintendo right now from shareholders to get rid of the Wii U and only focus on the 3DS and do like handheld gaming, because the 3DS is sold so well. And now a lot of games that I don't think are going to be nearly as good of experiences on the 3DS, like Smash Bros. I mean, if you've looked at that game and a lot of their like design choices regarding the visuals for that game, they're like, yeah, because you can't see anything on the screen because there's too much going on, we have to like put strong black outlines around everyone so that you can actually see what your characters are. Like, they're like, you can't see anything, so we're just gonna outline everything because it's the only way to make this game playable. And it's like, so what you're saying is this isn't really the platform to do a fighting game like this on? And they're like, yeah, but I mean, we need to sell the fucking thing, and this is the only platform we've sold. And so they're not going to sell units because they're going to sell the slightly worse version of their game on another platform.
The only thing that could really sell a Wii U for me right now is A, if I won the lottery, B, if a really amazing Zelda game came out that was somehow ridiculous, had Skyrim graphics, and played like fucking amazingly, and and a couple other really good games came out, like a Star Fox and a Metroid, then I would consider it.
Zelda has to have really like nothing. A visual style that's interesting. I think that's what's always worked for Zelda for me. If it looked like Skyrim, it would be. I mean, like, I might as well go play Skyrim. I mean,
like Twilight Princess, but HD, a more 1080p Twilight Princess style. I love that style.
Here's a problem I have. The gameplay to these games naturally should be utilizing the controller that they sold with the Wii U. Now, the new Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze game, when you play the game, the controller turns off.
Really?
Like it's just a black screen.
Yep.
I haven't bought it yet. I think that's going to be the game that I review next month. So.
I want you to think about that.
That's crazy that they would just like turn off the screen though, because like they've done such a good job of using the screen up till this point.
I know a lot of people are like, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze is one of the best games I've ever played on the Wii U, and it doesn't use the screen.
That's so bizarre, because they've done such a good job of using it though.
That's the problem. That's the problem, dude. Why the hell did that happen? You're telling me you just released a game that everyone's raving about. I have a couple friends that don't like the game, but it's not a big deal. The majority of the consensus is a good game.
Yeah, I mean, it's gotten like a 9 out of 10 by pretty much everyone. Like an 8 to a 9.
GameSpot.
but it doesn't use the screen. See, if I were to review the game and it didn't use the controller that was bundled with it, it'd be a terrible game. It wouldn't even be a good game. I wouldn't even say, wow, I just bought a game on a console that doesn't use it. If I were to review a car and they would include FMB radio instead of FM or AM, I'd be like, hey, this radio's useless because it doesn't have a frequency I can actually use. Why would you do that? It belittles the concept of the system altogether, therefore denying the idea of what the system is supposed to be. Just get rid of the controller and bundle a Pro controller with Wii U's, knock that price down by $100, and you'll see those things just flying off the shelf. Also call it Wii U 2 or Wii U HD or anything that will at least tell people it's a different system. The entire philosophy that Nintendo's going on about this is wrong. You know the new Pokemon game that was released on the 3DS?
Twitch plays Pokemon?
Oh, dude.
X and Y?
X and Y, man.
Yeah.
Twitch,
3DS,
Twitch
sorry.
beat Pokemon. They're not playing it anymore. They beat it.
They're still playing it.
They're playing a new one.
Yeah, my favorite.
The 3DS, the 3DS Pokemon game.
Yeah.
Majority of it isn't in 3D.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. One of the things that's
Nobody
really
cares about
upsetting
3D,
about the
so-
3DS, and something that I mentioned on the podcast like probably 3 months ago when the new Pokemon came out, and it was like, there's like no 3D in the game. I was like, oh, and I mentioned it after the new Zelda game, Link Between Worlds. Nintendo's gotten really good at using the 3D on the 3DS, and this is going to be the last time. This is going to be the only time that they use it. They're never going to release another handheld with 3D ever again. They're not going to release a system ever again with like 3D visuals like that. But now they know how to do it, and it's so maddening because it's like they can make a really good game that uses 3D really, really well. Never going to fucking see it again in like a year and a half. So
it's upsetting. I really like the 3D.
And
I think it's one of the most amazing inventions that have come around in a while, is just the 3D without glasses. And I think it looks really amazing on some games. The addition of depth into the characterization of characters and graphics and stylistic art. It's
the
beautiful.
Majority of the games didn't use it though. That was the problem. Super Mario 3D Land, beautiful use of 3D. Beautiful use of 3D.
Same with, like he said, Link Between Worlds and the new Phoenix Wright. They all used it amazingly.
And I mean, arguably the same thing with the Wii U. They're not going to release another system, like another like console like this, where you have a second screen like that. But it works really well in pretty much every Nintendo game that they've used it in. And I mean, if you played Nintendo Land, which I have played with friends because I have friends that came over, we played it. A lot of those like mini games used the screen really well. They did interesting things. Nintendo basically released a compilation of mini games. Are like, these are all of the things that you can do with the gamepad. Developers, go do this because it works really well. The asymmetric gameplay is a really cool idea using the gamepad. No one fucking uses it. No one uses it well except for Nintendo.
Yep.
And
the other big problem Nintendo has right now is third parties and no one making anything for their console.
They're not going to be able to fix that until they sell units and they need to make games that people want.
Yep.
The Xbox is looking really interesting in that they're not selling many units either, but they've sold as many as the Wii U in the amount of time that they had. But
I want to buy an Xbox
they're like
One,
completely,
but I don't. I hate it.
They're completely invested in Titanfall in the next couple weeks, and I don't know if that's a good idea or not.
Bad idea.
I think it's an amazing idea.
Bad idea.
I don't like Titanfall. It's not good, and I don't think it's a COD killer either. In that, as someone who likes
COD's already dead.
Someone who likes COD wouldn't like Titanfall.
COD
it's
is already
super casual.
Dead. It's not even the game being good or bad doesn't even matter. It's their investment into it is a bad idea. That's the problem.
It's their huge investment. It's the only game that, because it's the only game coming out on the thing for the next fucking 6 months. They have no games on the Xbox One. This is their major release for the year. It's insane.
No, it's not. It's available on the PC and the 360. Why do they care?
The 360 version's delayed.
And it's made by a completely
as
different
far as
team.
the way that this, and as far as like the marketing goes for this generation, for whatever reason, everyone's ignoring PC and pretending that things are exclusives that aren't.
Doesn't matter. Nobody's buying the Xbox One to play this game. If they really wanted to do something smart, they would have sold the hell out of that Dead Rising 3 game. But I guess they wouldn't want to do that.
I
mean,
think
they
tried to, but Dead Rising 3 was not. Dead Rising 3 was dead the second.
Dead Rising at all.
The second they showed off
Here's-
Dead Rising, that first Dead Rising 3 trailer, the one that was like all serious and brown, I think that they lost a lot of like the next several months of that game's marketing was like, no guys, we're still silly. Trust us, we're still silly. Cause they made that game look way too serious and boring at like the Xbox reveal. And I was just like, man, I don't want to play that.
See, I like to take a look at things from a perspective of future impact. So let's take a look at Titanfall. Titanfall's coming out to 3 systems. So whatever, it's
Let's
not
say
going to
2.
make... Well, PC, Xbox 360, Xbox One.
The 360 version's
I
only
don't count-
delayed like 3 weeks.
I don't count the 360 because it's made by a completely different team and it's gonna look like shit and it's gonna play like shit and no one's gonna buy it.
It's only delayed by 3 weeks, and I think it's
It's
going to
gotta-
sell way more. It's going to sell way more than the Xbox One
It's
version.
going to sell way more.
It's
way
gonna-
more than the Xbox
Of
One
all
version.
3
Oh my
versions of
God.
that game, is going to be the best-selling version.
Yeah, the 360 just has the ability to do that. Here is the problem on the whole scope of everything. Microsoft is investing a bunch of money into this franchise. They're
It's their
basically
huge
making it
marketing
seem
thing.
like their console seller. However, it's not an exclusive to them because it's not their own franchise. It's being made by EA, and it's also being made by a company called Respawn, which has no allegiance with the Xbox. What happens if Titanfall 2 comes
Isn't.
out on the PlayStation 4?
Yeah, I know. It's going to be crazy. Or what's happened a lot in the past, like you see with Mass Effect. Mass Effect was exclusive to PC and Xbox 360, but then you saw Mass Effect like Gold
it was just
Edition
360 originally.
Yeah.
and Mass Effect Gold Edition's on PlayStation.
Yep.
So I mean, there's ways to work it around where you can like release on other platforms even though you have an exclusivity deal because you like rebrand the game and release it a year later.
See, if you
There's
are
ways
a
out in your
company
contract. And I think
well,
it's bad for
if-
Microsoft to like align themselves, like you were saying, with a brand that's not theirs.
it's
I
a
think-
form of desperation, is what it is.
I
Yeah.
think they should.
But it's also the only major title that the Xbox is going to have for, I mean, a while.
As someone who's in the community and I've seen it slowly forming back up, I think they should put a little bit more time and effort than they have been into the Halo 2 anniversary and the launch of Halo 5,
Why?
which I
is
know
it-
Halo 2
well,
anniversary will be coming out in this year, and Halo 5 will be coming out 2015.
Is anyone interested in a Halo 2 anniversary? I don't
I
understand.
know a lot of people are.
I like Halo, but
So-
fucking why would I want to? I'm not buying a system to replay Halo 2 again. Get
It
the
really
fuck out of here.
It really depends.
I'll go
on...
play Halo 2. I probably have the disc somewhere.
The
I can
thing
get an
is,
Xbox
Halo
360
2
for
doesn't
$50
work
used.
anymore. The,
So
the thing is, are they remaking the multiplayer for Halo 2? If they don't, no one's going to buy it.
But
no one will buy it. No one
Halo
will touch
3
it.
had better
So-
multiplayer.
So the
No, it did
install
not, thank
base,
you.
the install base for the original Xbox, very small, 6.43 million sales. of the
Oh yeah, I
game.
know. That's why shareholders have wanted Microsoft to sell Xbox forever because it's never
Yep.
made any money. The division's the worst
Yeah.
division.
Well, that's a
Yeah, and
decent number
Microsoft.
for Xbox. Halo 2, 8.49 million. Halo 3, 11.87 million. Halo 3 ODST, 6.22. You know, it's a different kind of game.
Yeah.
It's a
arguably.
spin-off.
Halo Reach, 9.52. Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary, 2.2.
Awful.
And then Halo 4 is at 8.9. It actually sold less than Halo 3. Prospectively, from an investor's point of view, if they were to release Halo 5 on the Xbox One, it would probably not bring in the money that they would be expecting. It would probably bring somewhere in the realm of
I wouldn't
maybe
call it a
5
system
to 7
seller.
million.
I wouldn't
Absolutely
either.
not. And then, see, Microsoft didn't focus. I don't even know if you want to say they didn't focus. Call of Duty came out and obliterated a lot of people. The problem was Call of Duty wasn't on any one platform. So what the companies did was, instead of putting their effort into making their own brand sell, they put their effort into saying, hey, the best way to play Call of Duty is on the Xbox 360. So everyone was like, cool, Halo, that's great. You just invested money into selling a console to play a system, a game that you do not own. So when the next console comes out that utilizes it, which right now, if anyone's going to be playing Call of Duty on any of the 3 platforms, it's most likely going to be the PlayStation 4. That's the one that's going to earn that viewership and that gameplay. So you're going to see a sustainable growth in that market from people playing on that platform. If that continues to happen in that trajectory, nothing that they release on the Xbox One will help them because they didn't invest enough in those IPs and concepts and those games by themselves. So nothing will grow from that market. What you got to do is you got to make a Mario, and it's got to be your own. But if you're making a Mario, you got to make a good Mario, and you got to sell that Mario. You can't release Mario on the same day that another console comes out, which is what Nintendo did. The only reason, one of the reasons why Nintendo's in a bad position that they're in is because they released Mario, the new Mario 3D World
on the same day as the Xbox One. Mario 3D World released on the same day as the Xbox One, and I know this because I went in and bought that game, and people were laughing at me, and I was laughing at them. And then I won out in that I got a good game, and they spent $600 on a thing that I can go into the store and buy for $400 now because my store has too many of them. They're like, we need to get them out of here because they're not selling, and they're actually taking up space that we need for other stock. Like, I can go to Future Shop and buy a fucking day one edition Xbox. That's insane. Those things had
weird.
Yeah.
Because around here, they've been sold out.
Ryan, where do you live?
Victoria, British Columbia.
Oh,
it's the capital of the province.
No. That's. When you said Future Shop, I was like, for all the American viewers, that's a Best Buy.
Oh yeah, we had a Best Buy for like 3 months. But it was right next to the Future Shop, which was real strange because Best Buy owns Future Shop.
Too.
Best Buy owns Future Shop, and then they just closed it because it was like, why would you open a Best Buy next to a Future Shop?
The Best Buy and Future Shop where I live, you can literally hold your breath to get into the next store. It's that close.
Yeah, I know. It was the same thing here. And the thing is that the Future Shop that we have is a Class A store, so it has all of the TVs, all of the consoles, all of the software, appliances, like a home theater area, and the Best Buy that was directly next to it was a Class C, so it just had video games and like some CDs and DVDs. I was like, the fuck it, whose idea was this? And they're like, we're closing this Best Buy. It's not making any money. I don't understand. I mean, it's right next to this mega store that has literally all of the same stock plus more, but it's just not making any money, man.
Yeah. Oh. But that's a big problem. I mean, Nintendo on that day, they also released Mario. They released the Zelda game for the 3DS, and they also released a Mario Party game for the 3DS.
And that Mario Party game is apparently really bad.
Yeah, it is. Everyone knows that.
Well, see, that's a good day to release a bad game when it can slide underneath the radar of reviewers.
The problem is that they released that game, 2 other great games at the same time. It's just like, what are you doing?
See, this is funny too because the philosophy of what Nintendo was doing, and I understand what it was. They were like, we have a killer game here, guys. We don't just have one killer game. We've got 2. Like, we got 2 really awesome. I mean, seriously, guys, these are good games.
I get the idea.
We should release these on the same day that they release the Xbox One. So when people go to the store and they can't buy an Xbox One,
they'll buy your game.
They'll buy a game.
Also,
you know what the problem is?
They could have advertised it as like a bigger event than the Xbox One. Be like, it's the relaunch of the Wii U, guys. We've got 2 great games here. But
you know what they did? You see, you know why that didn't work?
There's no way that because they don't have enough money to directly compete in marketing against Microsoft on that.
No, that's not even the same ballpark. See, it's not even the marketing stance. By the way, they didn't even market that game. I didn't see any commercials for it.
For which one?
For both of them. I didn't see any.
Yeah.
I saw a Zelda one twice, and I'm on a lot of game websites and stuff. I only ever saw Zelda one twice.
The only way that I knew those games the only way that I basically knew those games existed was because like Gerard the Completionist is like, hey guys, I have a review before this game comes out. And I'm like, man, that game looks really fun.
This is the thing. Those games look amazing, and they look really fun. This is the problem with why you don't release it on the Xbox One. Console release, shitheads! Like, are you dumb? You don't even... Microsoft doesn't even have to fight for marketing supremacy. When you release a console, it's just like... They just they just talk about the console. It's a brand new console. It's a console release. There's naturally going to be more money involved in that. There's nothing you can do. They literally could have started World War III on the day that Xbox One came out. Nobody would have paid attention until the day after. That's the problem with Nintendo's little scheme of releasing it. Nobody would have paid attention, and nobody did. Nobody did. Everyone was like, "Oh, it's the best-selling game of the..." Fuck off. Okay, it had a larger install base. They easily could have got better, but the Wii U didn't gain sales, which is what they needed to do. See, what they should have done was like every time you buy a Wii U, you get this new Mario game for free. Every time you buy a 3DS, you get this new Zelda game for free. Entice the buyers in the market that are in the store going, "I've got $600. Oh, I can buy a Wii U for $300 and you'll give me a free game? Oh, that's great. Jeez, give me that." I mean, that should have been what it would. That should have been what it should have been. But they just couldn't do that. God, it pisses me off. Like, don't you hate? Like, I want them to be so successful. I just want them to be successful, but it feels like they don't want to. It feels like they're the only cupcake store in Korea, and they're putting rat poison in the cupcakes specifically so people won't buy the cupcakes. It sucks. It just sucks. And you don't want them. I mean, they're a company that have ushered many of us into the gaming world. I mean, in the 70s, that was Atari, and the arcades helped a lot. But for many people, the NES was their first breath of a video game. Super Mario was the first introduction of an arcade platformer that people began to understand. And the philosophies of jump and run and power-ups and lives, all that stuff, different levels, bosses, that's all Super Mario Bros. It's one freaking game that did it, introduced all these things, and Nintendo can't sell me shit. I mean, it hurts. It hurts, and it feels like they're doing it on purpose, just to be like, and I hate that. I freaking hate that. It feels like they're just insulting me every day.
The only thing that I'm kind of glad about is that I actually started playing games on a DOS machine. I played DOS games, and then I had a Genesis. So this is actually... the first Nintendo console I owned was an N64, and I didn't even play that very much because it was at my dad's house, and I lived at my mom's house, so I just played my Genesis. And so this is like the first Nintendo console that I've had at my house, like, to play whenever I want. So I'm not like, "Why'd you made my childhood, man? Why are you fucking it up?" I'm like, the company that made my childhood so far gone. I can't be super disappointed because, I mean, Sega hasn't been around as a console manufacturer in forever.
Pretty much.
Still complain that they're fucking up Sonic.
Oh yeah, you can always go with that. I mean,
yeah,
because
Sonic Generations was so good, and they're just like, "We're gonna release this one real bad piece of DLC, and then we're just gonna abandon this." And it's like, no, what they should have done with Sonic Generations is every 4 months release a level pack themed after classic Sonic levels from 1, 2, and 3, and Sonic and Knuckles, and then charge you $15 for it. And you know what? Every fucking, like, 4 months, I would buy that goddamn level pack. But nope. We got Sonic Lost Worlds and Sonic the Hedgehog Sonic the Hedgehog 4 episode 1 and 2. And episode 1 was real bad. Episode 2 was kind of playable.
I like the new TV show they're making, and I'm not against the new designs that much. Like, I don't care how you design
They're very
the characters.
strange for me for whatever reason.
It is weird.
They're like, let's make Sonic edgy again. And the thing is that edgy in this day and age is not a scarf. It's like some really gross joke.
That's the Sega think tank. That's a bunch of Sega people going, "So, what game is popular on the Sony PlayStation, boys? Uncharted? What's his defining feature? He wears a scarf? Sonic wears a scarf now." Like, I mean, that's all it was. You're honestly gonna tell me you guys thought about that on your own?
His shoes are scuffed up a little too now. See that? There's holes in them.
Yeah.
He wraps his feet in tape, which is a very strange thing for Sonic to do because Sonic's a runner, and the people who tape their feet are kickboxers. So I'm like, does Sonic kick people now? I don't get it. No, he's still just running. It's real weird.
I honestly don't know what their whole concept and philosophy is too much, but really, as it stands, I clearly understand that Sega doesn't care anymore. That's what it is. They're in a position where they do not care. Like they just don't. The thing about having the tape all over their shoes is very strange. Like I don't understand why they're
like there's
doing
no
that.
design purpose for it at all.
No,
Like,
I mean
they're just like, it looks cool, and I'm like, the fuck is that tape?
I mean, the tape on the hands, I can get that. See Knuckles, right? Knuckles actually having the tape on his hands makes sense because he uses his knuckles and he's, I get that. I get that. I actually get that. Why he took steroids in between 3 and this one?
Who cares?
Whatever. Who cares?
Sonic having tape on his shoes though is just fucking weird. You don't even see it right away, and then you get to it and you're like, why is that there? No one does this.
And
Sonic's now homeless. Actually, that's why he can't afford new shoes. He got all those crystals, but they're not worth anything.
I mean, here, from a design philosophy, if an animal is cold and they have to wear a scarf, wouldn't they wear some other kind of clothes? Because when he wears a scarf, I now see a naked hedgehog standing there.
Like he's got too much clothes on now.
Sorry, which?
Like he has too many clothes on now.
That
he's now a human. He can't be naked. It's strange.
Right. His hands are cold. His feet are cold. His neck's cold. Apparently, his genital area isn't. See Tails, how he's got the bandolier and all that stuff. Well, I get it. He can put things in there. That makes sense. That's not clothing. That doesn't keep him warm.
That's functional.
It's functional, is what it is. Knuckles is completely nude. He doesn't care. He's like, what everyone can see. I got lots to be proud of. And then Amy, she's wearing a dress, which just makes everybody else look naked. I mean,
but she also has
seriously
breasts sometimes.
I don't care. It's just weird. I don't even know what she is. Is she a hedgehog too? Did they ever say what she was?
I think she's a hedgehog.
I don't even know, man. She's some kind of animal.
It's just bizarre. I mean, it's like, see, the thing is, Sonic's whole persona is that he runs really fast. How does, see, Tails has the goggles. Sonic should have the goggles because Sonic runs really fast. So when the dust is flying at his face, he can have the goggles on. So that would make sense to me. Tails has the goggles because
they fly the plane. They need it.
That's because he's like a mechanic, and I guess goggles have become like.
Don't question.
Oh, that's funny. So Sega played Team Fortress 2.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
That's why. Yeah.
Nice. I'm happy with that. I really feel good. I'm glad it took all but 10 hours to design that, didn't it? Yeah. The cartoon, the 3D cartoon or whatever, that actually looked like it's going to be a good cartoon show for kids.
It looks like it's not bad. It looks like it's slightly misdirected in that it seems like they watched Adventure Time when like, this show's funny, and then didn't quite understand why Adventure Time is funny, and then tried to do it. But
I can separate
it's not the
myself.
Worst thing that I've ever seen, so I mean
I can separate myself from the actual, like, from seeing the show, or from seeing Sonic in there and going, why Sonic the Hedgehog? He's got to act a certain way. I don't care. I mean,
I don't
Sonic
care
the Hedgehog
either,
can act,
but it still seems like they don't quite understand the show that they're attempting to emulate. But it's not terrible. It's not unwatchable from what I've seen. I mean, there's things that they've done with Sonic that are unwatchable, like that Sonic animated movie.
Yeah. Well, there was one thing that they pointed out that I found funny. In the cartoon that they were showing, Tails, when he's flying the airplane, he's got headphones on. I don't know why. I think he needs to radio Sonic or, talk to his evil voices in his head. So he's got the headphones on right here. He's a fox. Ears are up there, bro. But he's got the headphones on right there, and it looks weird. It's like, okay, so now Tails has 2 sets of ears.
Maybe
two Tails, 2 ears. I get it, right?
He's trying to be cool. He's trying to That'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean you're right. See how you're doing it. See, I guess this is how I should be wearing my headsets, like on my cheeks.
I'm a DJ now.
I mean, look, I get it. It's weird for him to wear headphones when he's a fox because they technically would look like that in his head. I totally get that.
Could wear
Don't put headphones on him.
He could wear ear thingies in your headphones. He could.
And another weird thing is too that the goggles too. Tails' eye is about this big.
Yeah, and the goggles are like human size.
Yeah, the goggles are human size, but his eyes are like really big. So like they literally like imagine teeny little goggles for your eyes, and they just go over your cornea. Like that would hurt so much. But that's what I see. No man, it's super comfortable. Like that.
I really like when I just like move my eyes back and forth while wearing the goggles. It's the scraping motion is so nice.
It's like a cleaning thing, right? It's comforting. That little squeak noise really works great.
Followed by the terrible scratching.
Yeah.
So
I'm actually very glad too that I mean Tails can wear goggles because he actually has two eyes, but Sonic and Amy have one gigantic eye in their head. And the design has always been like that. It's been like that since we were kids. I think the original Sonic the Hedgehog is like that. There's no, you know how we have a brow, like an actual edge here that separates our eyes? They don't. They have just one big eyeball in their head with two things.
Two openings.
Did you ever notice that? Because that's how it works. It's one big ball in their head that moves around. It's creepy when you look at it and you see that, you can't see anything else.
I'm never going to be able to get around that ever again. I'm just going to notice that the next time I see it. It's just like the latency thing. Once you know it's there, you can't get rid of it.
You can't get rid of it. And if they were to redesign anything,
they should give him a bridge to his nose.
The scarf, the shoes. No, the thing you guys redesign, you don't design the eyes? Really? That's the thing you guys don't go for? The fact he's got one gigantic eyeball in his brain. And
his nose looks really weird now, too. Because it seems like they tried to redesign it so that he has, like, a nose bridge now. But in order to get around the eye thing, now I understand why. The nose is, like, really low and very short. If you've seen it, it's just weird looking.
It is. It's very weird.
So I think we should probably wrap this up soon because this is like the longest we've gone in like 2 or 3 months. Probably since like if it goes for episode length, it's like Game of the Year podcast and then this. Because the Game of the Year podcast, we had to argue out like 10 different sections and get it all done at once. And I was arguing with myself about whether or not I should split it into 2 podcasts. This one, we can't split this. It would be fucking weird. Also, not long enough to be split yet. We'd have to go for like another 45 minutes. So what we'll do, because I said that we'll talk about it at the end. Someone asked what our opinions on the Wii Mini and the 2DS are. So we'll end with that, and then we'll end. And then any other questions can just be emailed to me, and we'll answer them next week. Because I don't think there's enough people on anyways in this Twitch chat right now to actually ask us questions. Okay, Wii Mini, what's your thoughts? I think it's stupid because they still have Wiis around. Just sell those. They're the same price.
I don't know what the Wii Mini is.
It's that red one that they released only in Canada that they just brought to the US that has no Wi-Fi or anything.
I think they should have made it red and white and put the Canadian flag on it.
But they released it in the US after Canada.
They could just change the colors for that one. I think United States needs more Canadian flags in it.
I think what they should have done is they should have released the Wii HD and not the Mini.
Yeah. Or the Mini doesn't make any sense. They're like, we just have all these boards laying around, so let's just stick them in a case. Like, that's probably why it exists. The 2DS actually makes sense, though, in that it's a cheaper version of the 3DS, and that there's no 3D. It's cheaper to manufacture because it's not 2 screens, it's 1 screen. Just because of the shape. That's why it's the shape it is. That's why it doesn't clamshell, because you can just have one screen and they just segment it off with the case. It's also a lot more durable, and it's made for children, not for men. So, I mean, children would just go like this with the clamshell and destroy it. That can't happen with the 2DS. The 2DS makes perfect sense to exist. The Wii Mini doesn't make any fucking sense. They should have just made more Wiis and then put them out there, because they just got to get rid of those boards.
Probably like, we got all these boards, but no Wi-Fi. What do we do with them?
Probably. That's probably exactly what happened. Like, we've just got these boards laying around. We've got all these chips. Get rid of them. So I guess that's your answer. That's our thoughts on that topic.
Yep, there you go.
So, thank you, Shane, for coming on. You were a great guest. One of the best guests that we've ever had, I can say.
It's definitely a great experience.
Thanks.
I like that you
wish I didn't swear at Nintendo so much the whole time.
It's okay. Every
Don't
once in
worry,
a while,
we'll share this with Nintendo.
We all have to swear at Nintendo.
Every once
just
in a
what
while.
has to happen.
I do it from a place of love, really. I have to say that. It's not that I don't like Nintendo
so much that I have to tell you to fuck off sometimes.
I know. See, when your dad or your mom basically tells you, "Hey, you're a good kid, but you gotta stop stabbing cats in the backyard." They're doing it out of a place of love. They just want you to stop doing that. And when you get told that when you're a kid, you just stop stabbing the neighbor's cats. I mean, after the 6th cat, they're only going to call the police, and then they're going to find out you're doing it, and they're going to put you in a home for a couple of years. So you might as well stop while you're ahead. 5 cats, then cut it out, just cut it out.
So
it gets lonely in Canada.
It does. I can attest to that. And I live in a part of Canada where we don't get snow.
You lucky. How? Wait, what? How?
We don't get snow.
You're higher up than me.
I'm below the 49th parallel, and I'm on the water.
I'm below almost half of America.
Yeah, I know, but you're in Central, so you get snow. I'm on the
Eastern,
water.
But yeah.
Well, as in you're not near the coast, so I mean.
I don't know fucking weather. I didn't know the water made that much of a difference.
Yeah, we have the same temperature year round because I'm on a small island. We have like the tamest weather in the world. There's no extreme weather in Victoria. That's how we're gonna end this podcast. No extreme weather where I live. That's why it's so goddamn expensive to live here.
Don't forget to give out the email.
Yeah, so here's what I have to plug. So, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. Let's be honest, there's no ladies watching this, and you guys are certainly not gentlemen. You're probably terrible people. But you are terrible people, so we love you. In a platonic way, for at least 99% of you. There might just be one. I don't know. So, thank you guys for watching. There's some things that we need to ask you to do, though. If you listen to the audio version of this, please leave an iTunes review, because we need to get an actual rating so we can stop being unlistened to. It's just like how we need comments on YouTube to be visible, but we don't want to get comments on... Well, we don't want to be visible on YouTube in that we don't need it, because this is a fucking podcast. This is probably the worst way to watch or listen to a podcast. But please leave iTunes reviews because we need them. Please use the audio. If you're going to get audiobooks, please use the Audible trial, because we need to pay our hosting. It's more expensive than you think it is when you have no money. It's $10 a month, man.
What's that call sign again for to make money off of Audible?
Oh yeah, audibletrial.com/Dapper. Dapper.
Okay.
Dapper.
Now, listen to me, you British folks out there, because I know you're listening. Get the Red Dwarf Audible books. There are 2 of them. Chris Berry, Rimmer, reads them, and he does dead-on impressions of every single person on the cast. You will have no better a joy listening to these podcasts or these audiobooks than any other audiobook on the history of the platform of Audible. I promise you. Use that damn code, because if you don't, I'll find you.
Thanks for the great ad.
Thank you, Shane.
If I were more talented, I would write ads instead of just using the one they sent me. Because I'm allowed to do that. Just takes effort. Not super into that part. That's why I'm in computer sciences.
If Audible contacted me and gave me a lifetime subscription for free, I would be sending them so much money in business, my God. So just be telling everybody, Audible, just download it. Go, Audible.
The payouts are so worth it. It's like $15 a fucking referral. That's why everyone uses them, by the way. If you're doing a podcast and you're not using Audible as your sponsor, you're a fool. The payout's so good. So there's that. We have a Facebook page, facebook.com/dappergaming. We also have a Twitter @dappergaming. We also have a Steam group, Dapper Gaming. Link will be in the description. If you want to play games with Joe and I, send us a message on Steam. I don't accept random friend requests. Don't send me random friend requests. I need to know you to add you. Because I don't want to get, not Joe, but Scarfulu's fucking friend list. He's got like 500 friends on there, and he's like, I don't know anyone. It's a scary thing. I can't use a friend list like that. I can't handle it. So there you go. Those are like the 4 or 5, 7 things you have to do. Play games with us. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook. Both at Dapper Gaming. Use the Audible trial link.
Email us questions.
Comment. Oh yeah, that's the last one.
There you go.
Comment on iTunes. And number 6, if you have any questions, email me at ryan@dappergaming.com, and we'll read the questions and answer them next week. They don't even have to be about video games. They can be questions about life. We'll answer them.
This is gonna go horribly wrong.
No, they're perfect. So if you have any questions, email me at ryan@dappergaming.com. It will be in the description on YouTube. So thank you once again, Shane, for coming on. We're a great guest. One of the best guests we've had.
Beautiful.
And now it's time to actually end this thing. So
yeah. Wave
good night.
goodbye. People can't see me waving if they're watching
Listening.
the podcast. Bye.
Bye.
There you go.
Oh, that's going right in the video version on YouTube, but the stream's off.
That's gonna be that'll be the thumbnail.
The half-second fucking jitter.